Hi, I'm Kate Ward, and this is your Dickman Farms Decorator Tip. And we're talking about decorating wreaths today. And what about that to know? Well, lots actually, more than you'd think. It's that circular object that you see on doors, and the importance is actually in the circular when it comes to decorating. Because wreaths the greens are built one on top of the other, all in the same direction. So as you're decorating, bear in mind that one side, which is the side I did for the example already, is the easy side. The downside is always slightly easier. Now that side, it isn't like all of a sudden an uphill battle on the other side, but it just takes a little bit more time to get the ornaments to nestle in or whatever you're using correctly, whether it be simple pine cones or balls and baubles, whatever you choose. So we're gonna need a couple ingredients. Now for this particular wreath, to finish this off, I didn't go with pine cones, though you certainly could have. Perhaps you like red, perhaps you like blue or white or silver or any combination. You can do all sorts of things in all sorts of colors for the holiday season and winter. So I didn't choose pine cones, but I did choose some of these other things. And some of them I said, hey, I used this before, how can I reuse it? So obviously you've probably been decorating for a while and you've amassed some sort of collection. So have a look at that collection. Could you add to it a few new things to add to the older things that you've used in the past? So once you have amassed your collection, you're gonna need a couple other things. I heart glue guns. I just love them. They make life so much easier. But watch out for that glue. Generally the high temperature works the best, but it's high temperature. So if it's been on a while, comes out fast and is really hot. So be careful. You could also wire things in. Now that takes a little bit more time, a little bit more patience, but no hot glue. The other thing to think about is if I'm doing real or artificial. Now anytime I'm doing artificial in any project, you may choose to do wire, because unlike a real wreath that has its benefits that you made yourself and smells fantastic, it doesn't last more than one season. So that said, your decorations you're gonna take off and throw away, or just throw the whole thing away, honestly. But with a wreath that's non-living, artificial, you may choose some year to do something different. That's where wiring comes in. So that glue doesn't hold to that artificial thing. You can wire it, take it off, and there's no damage to the base. So just think about that and what you're decorating and how. Once you have that, you're gonna want your wire cutters. This has that combination of pliers and cutters here. This is the cutting surface. Straight wire cutters if you want instead. Scissors for whatever you're up to. Your ribbon or bow. Now here I cheated, I made a half a bow and we'll put on the other half a bow. Where can you put your bow? And the rest of your stuff. So let's get going. So where can you put your bow? That's up to you, but I would start with a bow if you're going to do a bow. Now there's different types of bow. There's puffy bows, there's bows without really a center, like this has a center. There's 6-loop bows, there's 9-loop bows, there's bows with long tails, bows with short tails. You guys get the idea? So decide what you want to do, because the ribbon and bows can make up the majority of your wreath if you wanted to. In fact, some people like to take extra ribbon and weave it through. So just think of how you want to do. You're limited only by your imagination and possibly some time. So let's finish up that bow. Now when we put our bow on, don't just glom it on there, because we don't want, if we did that, the wire that holds the bow together would cause a cinching. Like if I were to put my hair in a ponytail and it's cinched by that, the wire does the same thing. So like a little weaver bird, used that before, we weave it in the greens so that it doesn't look like it's just flattened where it was. So now we have something that resembles a proper bow, or what a bow should look like anywho, and we've wired it on. So there I go, there's my base. Now, I would like to start with the squiggles first. So that backdrop. So I'm gonna work into the deepest parts first and then work out the accents. Now that said, I have some curlicues here and I'm going to give them life. This is a pick, and picks are anything that's exactly what they are. They sound like. It's a pick. So maybe I have a pick here, but see how flat it is? Any pick I can breathe life into. And it depends on what I'm doing with it. Is it gonna go in a porch pot? Is it gonna go on my wreath? Do I need the whole thing? Can I use it in parts? Can I rip them apart? If you have glue, you certainly can. Wire, you can as well. But look at the difference between something like this and that. There's a big difference there. So the same thing happens when I'm talking about this. I can start to breathe a little life into these squiggly screws as I go. Now, I'm going to take this whole thing, and what I want to do is I have this big piece. I might start by laying it out a little bit. Now, I did that previously to the left side here of the wreath, but I might want to do that before and say, about where am I going to go? Because I don't want to keep pulling in and pushing out these pieces. So I say, okay, so I kind of like that. How is it going to lay? How am I going to work with it to see it? I like that. So once I have that or have a few pieces that I like, then I can go ahead and glue them in my instance. That's what I'm going to do because I like that. And you can see this glue is molten. It wants to move. It's moving down this, so be careful. If you get to the edge or you get yakking with somebody, you can get it to go the other way. You don't want it out too long that it cools too far down, but make a hole for it because some of that glue's gonna get on everything as we push it in. We're gonna nestle a little bit, but you can see, and then we're just gonna pull this around. These I don't have to affix in this case. Why? Because it's the main stem that's holding them in. Then I get other pieces. Again, I'm gonna give it a little bit of a personality, shall I say. I'm gonna see where I might like to see it. Maybe I want one up here. Okay, I vaguely like that. I get rid of any little bits of paper or other different colored things that might catch your eye. So get rid of, if you have ornaments, get rid of the ornament string, that kind of thing. So again, you see I have that glue. I used the entire length. I didn't just dot it. Don't be shy. Well, you can be shy, but just not with the glue, all right? So, and then we just slide it in. And I'm being careful not to get that glue on these other greens as I slide it in. Because glue, I mean, it gets on stuff, it forms strings. You'll see that there's strings of glue on the project. So when you're done, you're gonna wanna get those strings out of there. Well, maybe I don't need, so there's one pick, there's two, and then some twirly quirlies. So maybe I'd take this and say, whoop, whoop, rip, whoop, rip. Now I have these things. Again, my twirly quirlies. Now I'm gonna say, where do I like this? And I'll just glue this bottom edge. So it's just finding pieces, how you like them. I'm gonna put them in here, and I'm doing this waving so that that glue stays on there and doesn't drip on me, doesn't drip on my work surface. And then I'm gonna press a little bit. Remember, glue's hot. Use the greens, not your pitties. All right, some people like to wear gloves. I can't work in gloves. Nobody, I don't know why. So I'm gonna grab a couple of these pieces until I'm done and where I like it. Maybe I'll have extra pieces left over, but it's up to you how much or how little you use. Come back! Oh well, we'll get him later. I'll get you, my pretty! And how little or how much you use in any piece of yours. You get to decide when it's done. So once you have that background where you like it, then use your next pieces. And again, I would work from largest to small. We want to make sure we can nestle them in. So like I said before, we get rid of any strings, any extra things. Just get rid of them, throw them out. I'm going to use, and I'm going to glue, not going to be shy. I'm not shy. I know it's hard to believe that I'm not shy, but I'm not. All right, lots of glue. Back in there. I think I'm gonna like this space, but I wanna keep this white pine. I think it's pretty. I'm gonna get it in here, and I'm gonna grab the back of the wreath, and I'm gonna twist and push. Yep. Just gonna kind of push that in, and then later on I can fiddle with these guys and say, oh, how do I like them? All right, and I'm just gonna keep going with things that I like, paying attention that I don't really have a symmetry that I'm paying attention to besides the colors, and each color is on each side, maybe in a slightly another location. These big ones are again to be the back, so they nestle down in. We don't want it to look like it just you threw it at it and it's stuck there on Velcro like, it's not what we want. We do want to add the layers, and the layers are created by these different sizes and the depth within the wreath in which they're placed. So just keep adding. What you'll notice if you're moving fast is the glue gun gets harder to press. That's because you're using the glue so quickly that the gun's having trouble keeping up with you. So for whatever you spilled before that was, really, really hot, it's now cooling down a little bit. So maybe I put this in there, and then I can curl my curlies, but keep pressing a little bit. See how it wanted to come out? I let go too soon. Maybe this will be here. But you get the general idea, and we just keep adding these layers, working forward and smaller, and maybe I'll do something like this. Maybe I'll finish with this guy in here. and then I would kind of look, see if I like it, do I like it overall, and call it a day. So I'll keep working on this. I'd love you guys to come in and see all of us here at the Garden Center. This has been your Dickman Farms Decorator Tip.